Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to be replacing the battery in this Motorola Edge 20. Okay there guys, so welcome back, and we're doing another repair today, and this is a battery replacement for a Motorola Edge 20. They're a fairly cheap phone, but quite a good model. Note here it does say it's got a 108 megapixel camera, which is pretty insane. But anyway, we're going to be replacing the battery in this today, and it is a fairly simple operation. We just need to remove the back and also loosen the adhesive for the battery and get that out, and other than that it is fairly straightforward. So we're just going to go ahead and get started. So the first thing we need to do is we need to actually go ahead and warm the back of this phone up. There aren't any screws holding this back on, it is literally just adhesive. So once you warm it up and you use the super duper suction tool, you should just be able to get underneath and use a plastic pry tool and go all the way around the side, and then we should be in and ready to proceed. So I'm just going to go ahead and get the heat pad over. I'm going to set it to perhaps 80 to start, and we'll see if that is warm enough for us to get the back off. So just a quick note while this is warming up, occasionally when I do use a suction tool, the screen protector does peel up, and it does mean we have to apply another one, but to be quite honest, it's much better to do that rather than to get a big metal tool and try and pry our way into the back and scratch all of the phone while doing so. But I'll rejoin you guys when I warm this up and we can start peeling the back off. Okay, so I've just let it warm up for a couple of minutes, and I just wanted to show you what it looks like. So as you can see, the back does start to flex and does start to come away from the chassis of the phone, which is exactly what we want. So I'm just going to give it a couple more minutes, and then I'm going to be using a plastic pry tool just to get it apart. Okay, so as you can see now, it's starting to come away, and we should just be able to get a plastic pry tool in that area there where it's coming away. There we go, like so. You don't have to worry too much about being careful with the back of this phone because it is very flexible stuff. It isn't like glass or anything like that, so it should just come away pretty easily, and you can be quite forceful without doing any damage at all. So I'm just making my way around now. So now we're at this stage, we just want to get rid of the rear camera lens cover. So if we just go underneath with our plastic pry tool and just lift up, might be a little bit stuck down, same as the back, but it should just come up like so. Now next, we just want to take out these screws we have here at the top. So I'll just go ahead and do that. Okay, so now that all these screws are removed, we should be able to remove this top plate. So we just get underneath the plate there and just put some upward pressure on it. And as you can see, it's just floated straight up. Then we just want to take that away from there. We just fold these two flats up here, which I assume help with thermals. Then we get access to the battery connector. So that's the first thing we now want to disconnect. So if we get your plastic prying tool. And then we now want to just peel this piece back here, this piece of tape here that's just over the bottom of the battery connector. Just grab that and peel it back. There we go. And now the battery is completely exposed and not connected at all. So we are going to need to heat it up again, and that is because this battery will be well stuck down, and annoyingly, as some manufacturers do this, they haven't actually put any tabs in here to actually pull the battery out with. So we're going to have to use the plastic prying tool, but we are going to have to use a lot of heat first. So I'm going to bring the heat pad over again, and we're going to heat it up. Okay, so the heat pad is on. So we're just going to wait for the phone to warm up, and we're going to have a go at taking this battery out. I know some people use alcohol It's not always necessary. The heat is the main thing, because all of these adhesives will survive until a certain temperature, and around about the 70 to 80 degree mark they all give way. So as long as you can heat the device up to around that amount safely, then you should be good to go. I do know other technicians use heat guns, and you have to be very, very careful that you don't apply too much heat and actually damage the device. With one of these, you can be sure that it isn't actually going to go above the temperature that you set it to, and so you should find that it's quite a controlled way of warming these things up. So we'll just wait until this is warmed up and we'll get on with removing the battery. Another thing I've just noticed, guys, is that the battery that I'm going to be replacing it with is exactly the same as the original, to the point where even the date that's there is exactly the same as the one that's on here. So I'm actually just going to put a black marker dot on the existing one, just so that we don't get confused with which one is which. So it is warming up nicely right now, so I'm just going to give it a feel to see how loose it is. There is a little bit of movement in there. So I have actually managed to get the suction tool to stick to the face of the battery. This is rare. Most of the time the battery surface is too rough or uneven and I can't get the thing to stick at all. But on this occasion it looks like it has, so I might just be able to ever so slightly just ease it out using this. Eventually you'll be able to lift the battery enough to get something underneath it, like I have here. And then you should be able to safely pry it away like so, and it should just come up. It's coming free now. And there we are. Perfect. So there we have the old battery. Very minimal damage done to that and removing it. However, it is worn out, so it will just be going in the bin. But that's the sort of experience you should expect to have when removing the battery. You don't want it too morphed and too squashed. If you do end up with a battery that's very, very warped and very misshapen, then I recommend you dispose of it ASAP. Now, once you've removed the old battery, we do need to give chance for the phone to cool back down again after we've been heating it up on the heat pad. You don't really want to subject the brand new battery to immediate heat. What we're going to do in the meantime is put some adhesive on the battery so that we can stick the new one back in. Okay, so here we have the new battery, and I know it's the new battery because we don't have the marker pen dot there. Now, what you need to do is you need some kind of adhesive to just stick the battery back in the phone. It doesn't need to be as strong as the original stuff. They always overdo the adhesive in the factory. What I tend to use is these, and this is half of an adhesive piece that always comes with an iPhone battery replacement, and normally I just use half because it is more than good enough to keep the battery in place and prevent it from moving around. Now obviously in this case it's a little bit too long, so I am going to shorten it, but I will just be applying it in the center like that on the back side of the battery. So I've cut it short there so that it's the same length as the battery. So we just want to turn over the battery. Ideally you want the tab to be on the bottom side or on the side that's most accessible when it's in the phone. So I'm just going to apply this now. Perfect. And then if we fold it over on the front of the phone, we just want that front bit there to go over and stick flat to the top. So when it's in the phone, you'll be able to just unpick that bit at the front and pull the tabs out should you ever need to remove the battery again in the future as well. Okay, so it's been a few minutes now, so I'm just going to go ahead and put the battery in. And I'm not going to remove the back adhesive yet because we need to test that the battery works and that everything is okay. So I'm just going to drop it in as so, and we're just going to connect the battery to the board. So just holding the battery and making sure it can't pop out, we're just going to power it on and check that the phone powers on with the new battery in. And there we are. So the phone's powering on. It is down to 15%. We will just plug it in and check that it charges okay. So we'll just check that the percentage there actually goes up to 15. As you can see there, it's gone up to 15, so we know everything is all good on the charging side. Okay, so I'm happy to go ahead and continue putting this back together. Okay, so now that we know the battery's all good, we just want to disconnect the connector again. And then we just want to lift the battery back out. Might stick down to the original adhesive a little bit while you do it, so just lever it off. Now I want to go ahead and peel off the other side of the sticky tape that we've put on. And now we just want to make sure everything's out of the way and drop the battery in like so. And there we go. Now, I don't really want to push too hard because that stuff is really good and it will just keep it stuck down now for good. But you can also just get this piece that we peeled off initially and just stick that back down if you want. Just like that. And so you just want to connect the battery connector back again. Drop the two thermal pieces back down. Bring over the motherboard shielding and put it back. And then we just need to put in all of the screws that we removed earlier. So I'll go ahead and do that now. Okay, and then once you've done that, you just want to bring over the camera lenses and put them back on. Now the final part is we need to clear all the adhesive off around here and we need to apply some new stuff. So I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of this. Okay, so it should end up looking like this with all the adhesive removed from the edge. And this gives you a fresh canvas to actually apply some new adhesive all the way around. So I'm just going to go and bring across 3M 9485 double-sided tape, and I'm going to cut some and apply some all the way around the edge of this. So just bear with me a minute while I do that. Okay, so now we've applied adhesive all the way around the borders. We just need to go over to the back of the original cover and we just need to remove the adhesive from this. So I'll just go ahead and do that. Okay, so now we've got rid of all the adhesive on the back plate. We just need to go ahead and take the back side of the adhesive off of the new stuff we've put on. So I'll just go ahead and do that. Okay, and once you're happy, we just need to take over the back plate again and we just need to drop it down right back where it was originally. So if I just drop that down there, like so. And just really push it down all the way around the side, just to make sure it's well unstuck. And there we go, all nice and stuck, not lifting anywhere. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and power it on just to check that it powers on still. And there we go, the adhesive on the screen there. Okay then guys, so that is repair complete. So I hope you enjoyed the video and I'll catch you guys in the next one.